Hello, hello. Oh, wait. Sorry. Oh, technical problem. Here we are again. Okay. Good afternoon. Oh, good evening. Good afternoon and good morning. In Philippines, it's morning actually, right? And here it's good evening now. In Japan, kumbanwa. And buenos dias, buenas de noches. Okay. Assalamualaikum. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody. Before we start, let me just shout out first those who are there. Maraming salamat mga kapatid. Lisel Deligero, thank you very much kapatid. Thank you very much for coming. Liz Morales. Maya Kawakami, thank you very much. Okay, let me give you a jacket first, Lizel. Thank you for coming, Lizel. Oh, wait. Siya datang close ako sa ano. Okay, so our topic today is this morning in Philippines, actually, is all about internet addiction. Actually, internet addiction or digital addiction is actually a new disorder. Okay, we have mental disorder, we have a attachment disorder, post-traumatic syndrome disorder, any kind of disorder. Now we have a internet addiction disorder. Okay, it's considered an internet addiction disorder. And without our knowledge, I myself, okay, sometimes I get addicted into it. Okay, so this time we gonna discuss what are these addictions that we are not aware of, and most especially our kids, because at least adults we have control. Right? Sometimes we're addicted, but after some time we realize, actually, I also experience addiction on internet and even games before, but after some time, I find ways to disengage into this. But kids are so many kids. I know many parents can relate into this, have this kind of problem, and this is what we're gonna discuss today. So we have a guest, special guests who are knowledgeable about this matter, and let us. Before we begin, I would like to introduce him. He's actually he's not Filipino, but he's married to a Filipina. Okay. He attended the Unification Theological Seminary in 1995 to 1998. He's a co-director of Family Federation in Philippines, in Cordillera region. He is a Sunday school supervisor here in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. He is a husband to, of course, a Filipino wife, and they've been married for 29 years. And most especially, he's a father of 12-year-old son. Okay. Without much ado, let us welcome Mr. Brian Lancaster. Yes.
Hi, Tom. Good evening. And thank you for the introduction. And to the audience, wherever you are, if you're in America and the West Coast, good evening. If you're in Philippines, I think it's Sunday morning there. So good morning.
Yeah, good morning. One moment, Kuya. I will just interchange. Okay. Yeah, so Kuya, actually we call him Kuya, actually, and he understands because he's married to Filipina. So yeah, he's in our community here he belongs to our Filipino community here in the Bay Area. Okay, and we've been discussing this before, and we found out it becomes a big issue. Okay, to many parents. Okay, maybe you tell something about this. How did this started, Kuya?
Okay, so first, I like to say I'm not an expert in this area, but I'm a parent my parental instincts are at play here in me seeking to find out and understand more about the problem of addiction on the internet. So, about a few years back, I think it was 2006 to 2008, I worked as a contracted Google. And one day I was in a conversation with one of the other workers, and they were discussing about where the executive staff send their children to be educated. And it was said that most of the executives send their children to what is called a Waldorf school system in the Silicon Valley, which is a kind of a private school, which costs about $40,000 to $50,000 a year for grade school, right? And at this school, they do things the old-fashioned way. They don't introduce computers until 12 or 13 years of age. In the earlier grades, the kids use building blocks, the things that we have thrown away as being something from the past. Okay? And then around 2007, when the first iPhone came out, and a little afterwards, somebody, after the iPhone, the iPad came out, and someone had an interview with Steve Jobs, who was the CEO at Apple at the time, and they asked him, "So, do each of your children have their own iPad?" And he said, "No, they don't have their own iPad." And the interview was a little bit taken aback by that, because he thought that, well, this is the CEO of Apple, and they make the iPad, so each of his children would have an iPad. So those two situations were quite telling to me, and I wanted to understand what was the reservation with these parents in having their children involved with technology at an early age, and so on. So also, there was an observation I made with my son. We don't watch, a lot of the TV series that come on like after 8 at night, or 9 o'clock in the evening, that involves a lot of shooting and so on. So up until my son was about 9 years of age, between the news and our favorite family program is Jeopardy, which comes over at 7 at night. So when they break for a commercial, they would sometimes advertise the shows that are coming on afterwards. And, some of these shows would be detective shows, and there would be shooting and violence. And whenever there was an advert where there was somebody shooting a gun, he would either switch the channel or turn away, right? he had that reaction. But then I noticed that we would visit some family members who had older kids, and they would be playing these online video games, or these Xbox and other games where they were shooting, and he wasn't afraid. And I found this strange. He would participate in those games, which were in many cases for mature kids who were older, like 14 years or so, but he wouldn't be afraid. And I wondered
Mm-hmm.
about that. And
Mm-hmm.
also, there was this debate between in the military about who was a real pilot, because in the American Army, there are pilots that fly aircrafts, as well as those that fly drones, right? Who navigate drones, and the ones that fly the aircrafts didn't consider those who flew drones as real pilots. But what happened was that it was discovered that the pilots who controlled the drones started to develop PTSD. And that
Oh.
kind of turned the argument on its head, because you're saying that we are not real pilots, but we are suffering post-traumatic stress syndrome. Mind
Mm-hmm.
you, the pilots who fly the drones, they are based at a military base in Nevada, and they fly drones that are in Afghanistan, or wherever in the Middle East or Asia where the drones are needed, you know? So I found that pretty interesting. And
Oh.
and I also wondered if kids who play those violent video games, like Grand Theft Auto and those shooting games, if they themselves could suffer from PTSD. So I became curious,
Mm-hmm.
and started to do some research to try to understand what video games and you know those things are all about.
Yeah. Actually, I do a little research also, kuya, and I found out that I don't know if she is the first who researched on this. Okay, she is Dr. Kimberly Young, a psychologist, and she started get curious about internet addiction in 1995. Okay, that's too early. Okay,
Oh, that's a
and
long
that
time
is when
ago.
that is when her friend, you know, friend's husband got addicted into internet, and because of that
Mm,
they divorced, because the husband spent 30, 40, 50, 60 hours in a week in the internet. And then she found out that she engaged with women and with many things in the internet. Okay, so of course during those times there's no cell phone, there's no, and the communication is mostly email, you know.
mm, mm,
And she got interested on this, and she started to do a little survey. And they usually have this, survey where there's already questions, and she
mhm,
uses the survey on gambling and liquor addiction. She just
mm, mm,
erase, she just changed it into internet addiction. Okay, So usually she said she get email 2 or 3, something like that. But when she post internet addiction and get a survey, she get 50, 50 emails, 100. And she found out
Mm-hmm.
there's so many people who are uh, already have problems with internet even during those times. That there are college students who said that they cannot concentrate on the studies because they cannot you know resist this compulsive you know the attraction from internet. Then also
Mm-hmm.
there are people who said that they get divorced, they fired in their work because of the internet addiction. And after some time she published a book uh, about internet addiction, and then she said it becomes internet addiction as a new disorder. And of course it's new to many, but after some time, 20 years back, it becomes everybody's talking about it, and so many can
Yes,
uh, relate to this problem.
that's correct. The issue is that um, the internet came on stream in the early 1990s, and so we're still early, these are still early days, and we're still finding out so much that was not known. So essentially, uh, anyone who's born uh, in the 90s, they're the first generation that has grown up with the internet. And
Mhm,
we're now seeing the effects and beginning to understand how it affects a person's mind, and
mhm,
trying to come up with ways of controlling it.
mhm.
You know, in the early days, it was thought that
Yeah,
with the internet and digital education, that the poorer people would be disadvantaged. There would not be equity because only rich people would be able to afford to buy computers for their kids and tablets and those kind of things, right? And that they will have an unfair advantage. But it is found that the big problem today, the digital gap between the rich and the poor, is that the poorer person's kids are spending so much more time on the internet than the rich people's kids, because a person
uh-huh,
who has money can pay a babysitter to watch that their kids don't go on the internet, limit that their time using uh, digital devices is limited, while
mhm,
a person of limited means, they're busy, especially if they're a single parent with 3 or 4 kids. It's hard for you to supervise all your kids, and to see what they're doing and who they're talking to online. And
mhm,
also, the parent may not be aware of the issue with having their kids use digital devices for an extended period of time, you know?
yeah. Actually, the
So,
worst thing there, Kuya, is oh, okay. Continue, Kuya.
no, you go ahead.
Yeah, the worst thing there is aside from having difficulty of controlling, they even allow it, especially kids, because it becomes a babysitting. They spend less time taking care, especially as a single mom, right? They spend less time taking care of the kids if they have something in there that make their kids busy. So becomes a way of babysitting some kids, like one of my brother's wife, because they have some business. Uh, since she has hard time taking care of the business and the kids, she leave her cell phone there and the TV, so that her kids are busy, so she don't take care of them, so she can do the business. And
Right.
the cell phone becomes a babysitter to her
Right.
children.
Mm-hmm. So I, I want to share what are the recommended limits on the amount of time that kids should be using digital devices. Some researchers suggest that kids should be limited to 2 to 3 hours per day of
Mhm.
computer use. And the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends limiting total screen time to 1 or 2 hours per day, not counting computer time used for work or homework. And so when we talk about screen time, screen time includes television, computer games, handheld gaming devices, smartphones, and social media. Um, Typically, what happens is this, because I've observed it with my son. You tell him to get off the laptop. He closes the laptop and he goes to the tablet. You tell him get off the tablet. He closes the tablet and he goes to um, my computer, the family's computer. You tell him get off that. He goes to the television. Get off the television. Turn the television off. It goes to PS2 or something. It's like you're playing whack-a-mole. You know, there are so many choices they have, you know.
There's
So
always
you
an
tell them get
alternative.
off one, they go on the other one.
So yeah, the solution is really, complete off the screen, right? For some period of time.
Yeah.
According to survey, actually, it's kids are now spending 9, 10, even 12 hours a day on the internet, and I think that's too much. And
Yes.
I think
So
many parents can relate into this.
there is an article that I have that is called "The Digital Gap Between Rich and Poor Kids is Not What We Expected." America's public schools are still promoting devices with screens, even offering digital only preschools. The rich are banning screens from classes altogether. So, uh, one some research was done, and it was found that lower income teenagers spend an average of 8 hours and 7 minutes a day using screens for entertainment, while their higher income peers spend 5 hours and 42 minutes, according to research by Common Sense Media, a nonprofit media watchdog. So
Mhm.
that is the difference, because the the rich the richer parents are sending their kids to private schools that limit the use of students on digital devices and are probably aware of the studies that have been done. You know, in the late 1960s, there was a researcher at Stanford who did what is called the marshmallow test. And basically, what he did was um, observe kids who were as young as 4 years old. They had them come and sit in a room, and they give them a plate with a marshmallow in it. And they explained to them, well, there was a marshmallow in the plate, and then a bell next to the plate. And they said, look,
Yeah,
um,
I saw that one. Yeah.
you can see how long you can stay without eating this marshmallow. All right. If you cannot wait until we return, you ring the bell and you can eat the marshmallow. Or if you wait until when we return to you, we will give you two marshmallow instead of one. Right? So
Yeah.
they did this with 94-year-olds. As I said, this was done at Stanford University with children from the surrounding area. And then later on in life, they went back and they assessed these students to find out how successful they were in as teenagers in preparing for the SAT and ACT exams and those kind of things. And what they found was that those kids who did not have the self-control did worse on these tests and were less successful going into their adult years than the kids who were able to delay their gratification and wait until the researchers returned to receive a second marshmallow. It seems like a simple enough test. When I first heard about it, I said, is this for real? But yes, because it's basically talking about the ability to delay gratification. So when we have to be smart as parents in that one, learning delayed gratification develops one's character, right? This is a character trait that you want to teach your kids. It can be taught. And limiting the use of digital devices is one way in which we can do that. You know, when I was a kid, my dad used to always tell me when I did something that he didn't like, he used to say, you give a monkey long rope and eventually he's going to hang himself. And I always used to look at him wondering what he meant by that. It wasn't until I became an adult and I realized, yeah, you give people, especially kids, too much freedom, it ends up being harmful to them.
Yeah. I would like to interrupt you for a moment, Kuya, because
Sure, go ahead.
I just need to talk to Jeffrey. Jeffrey, you know yung Nightbot, sabi niya when you type hagdan, you know, Nightbot drop a link. Just click the link, Jeffrey. Also, before we continue, I would like to shout out those who are there. Arturo Lim, mega shout out. Shaymango, Alison Wild TV, thank you very much for coming. Liz Morales, thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening. Alison YCT, ITC. So Jeffrey, just click the link of that Nightbot, you know. Sabi niya doon, antayin ka sa backstage, sabi niya. Yung StreamYard na yun, i-click mo lang yun, Jeff. Okay, so while waiting for Jeffrey, let's continue. So, I think what you're telling us, Kuya, about that kind of experiment is it's all about teaching discipline to kids, right? Because, yeah, knowing about the importance of delayed gratification helps them, you know, postpone those eagerness. But yeah, actually, I read, I watched something in actually YouTube that there are two things that makes us so addicted to internet. Not only kids, but also adults. And first is there's always something new. Of course, there's always something new in internet. Of course, tons of information. Even me, by just you know, I'm thinking of a certain topic that I want to see, but before I reach the topic, there's a lot of some how do you call this
A lot of
disturbances that
distractions in
distract
the
you
way.
to yeah, yeah, to reach that one. And another thing is that this internet they are also hiring behavioral experts
Yes,
that make these devices so attractive that is very hard for us to resist.
exactly.
So
It's
that's another thing.
companies employ people who have PhD in neuroscience who study how to make
Mm-hmm.
the games more addictive because the more people that play them, right, the more revenue they get. So they're interested in increasing their revenue, and advertising and this sort of thing helps them bring in more revenue. And so we are no match for these games that they you know
Mm-hmm.
have our kids play. So you got to be careful because the games are very addictive. They kind of reward you. Like for example, you had this thing called in social media streaks in forget this Snapchat, yeah, you know, where people wanted to maintain their streaks, and so they had to be on their social media feed all the time, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and there are many games that are designed, to be purposely addictive. That's the model that they
Mm-hmm.
use, and so a kid is no match because even adults become addicted to these games. So
Yeah.
we only fooling ourselves when we allow our children to do battle against forces that are more powerful and wiser than they are.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so before we continue, I would like to introduce also one of our friend. Is he's been who is that echoing? Is that me or you, friend? Is there a device there?
I'm not hearing an echo on my side.
Oh yeah, let me see. Okay, yeah, this is a friend of ours. We've been in the same region in Baguio. He study in actually formerly uh, is formerly Baguio College's foundation, Cordillera University of Cordillera right now, and he graduated in as an architect, and he's been in America also before us, Kuya, and he is a very good friend of ours, and he helped me a lot when I first came here in America. He's really, shall I say, my best friend and also a brother. Okay, without much ado, let us welcome Jeffrey Quilates. Ay,
Hello, hello
kumusta,
there.
kapatid?
Hi,
Thank you
Jeffrey.
Yeah,
for having me.
or maybe like that. Oh, wait. Uh,
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can
yeah,
hear you.
Okay.
yeah. So Jeffrey is also a parent and has four kids, actually. He's been married for also 29 years, Jeffrey, right?
Yeah.
And unlike other parents, he is also experiencing this kind of difficulties with his kids. So, Jeffrey, you want to share something? Tell me something about this kind of issue.
Yeah. It's been a problem because my son is hold on. I have to move to another room because I don't want him to hear me. Hold on.
Pao the Wanderer, make a shout out. By the way, yeah, while you're preparing, Jeffrey, Pao
Yeah.
the Wanderer is from Japan. She is blessed, married to a Japanese. Thank you for coming, Pao the Wanderer. Pauline actually. Pauline pangalan mo, di ba? Okay, Jeffrey, keep going.
Yeah. The problem was like so it's when you try to um give your kids like a device that is not supervised. Yeah, that's a big problem now. Yeah, my it's hard to um break that addiction already because he's now almost 18 years old, and yeah, spending almost like 12 hours on a screen, and I can't even hardly see him, even like ask him to join us for a dinner or sometime. But yeah, he sometimes eat and like eat like really quick and then leave because he's going back to like uh, computer games or something. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really hard. So while I suggest while your kids are young, are like 12 years old, you still can probably control them. But when they reach like 15, that's really hard to control already, like become addictive already. And yeah, this is my biggest concern right now because, many times school or principal and also the guidance counselor keep calling me because Kale, I mean, my son is not doing his homework, and especially they're doing it online school.
Yeah, distance education now. Yeah.
Yeah, and then all I thought. he's doing it, he's participating it, but I found out he's not doing his homeworks, or participating in a school sometimes. And then I keep on, sometimes they're even lying. He's even like sometimes lying, because he said he participated, but maybe he was saying, like, maybe my school teacher missed something, like to submit it, but it's not,
I am familiar with
yeah,
that because what you're
Yeah.
describing there has started with me. It started to happen with my son also. Um, with the confusion of online education, um, it was hard to monitor what was really going on at first.
yeah.
And so in one class, he got a C, while all his other classes he got um, A's. And when I asked what happened, he said that he had submitted all the work, but the teacher
Yeah, exactly.
couldn't find the work that was submitted. By the time I found out about that, it was already late. The grades were all submitted, and so I had to let that pass. But they operate on a quarter system. So in January again, the he had another class with the same teacher, and I approached the teacher. I said, I don't want there to be a repeat of what happened before. Let's put that behind us, but let's look forward. So when it came to the end of the term, I asked the teacher to let me know if everything was submitted that needed to be submitted. And the teacher got back to me and said, um, the work that he's completed, he has an A, but there are some assignments that are outstanding. And if those assignments are not submitted, he will end up with a C.
Mm,
And when I asked him, look, a teacher is asking
Mhm.
about these assignments, he didn't even know that he had those assignments to do.
yeah.
He wasn't aware.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. So
up until
I think
now,
what
I'm
would
trying to
then be
understand how did
what
you're attending classes? How did you not know? You know? So yeah, it started to
so
happen. So I am trying to get it under control before it gets out of hand.
Yeah.
mhm. Yeah. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. This is one thing interesting right now, because what would be the uh, age restriction? Because what happened is, if we don't start early, it's gonna be harder later on. Like, like older kids who get addicted already, they try to lie, they try to fail with their, so it means those are signs already, and it's
Correct.
also harder already to control, because they're into that. So the earlier, the better. The only problem right now is it's hard to restrict them, because this is already the trend right now, because of pandemic. People are having their class online, and even my kids, you know I thought she's already done when they do this online class. I thought she's
Mm-hmm.
already finished. It's already finished, but still, it's just happened that she went to still playing. I thought she's still having class, but already it's done. But she's doing something else already. So of course, after this pandemic, maybe I don't know if we can go back to same class that we restrict online class. But this is the problem. Suppose there's no pandemic, what would be the right age where we can restrict the kids?
Well,
Not
you
sure.
you start very early with
Mm-hmm.
restricting them. As I said, the recommendations are um, somewhere between 1 and 3 hours per day, involving all media, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you keep it at that, because if you're going to be online for 5 hours as you go from grade to grade, um, something will suffer. You're not going to be spending enough time studying and preparing, and becoming knowledgeable in the subject area, right? It
Mm-hmm.
um, the way that you learn maths is by practicing. You don't study maths like by reading a textbook. So the more practice you have, the better you become. You understand? So
Mm-hmm.
you gotta limit the amount of time, and so let's talk about practical things that families can do. Um, One, it is recommended you can go online in the internet and search for um, come up with an agreement that you sign and get your kids to sign, and what are your expectations of them regarding the use of digital devices and time limits and all of those kind of things, and you that anytime they're using a digital device, it has to be in a living room, right? In family area. Nobody going into the bedroom with a tablet, and you don't know um, who they're talking to and these kind of things. Um, and as they get older and start to use social media, as you see them maturing and they begin to use social media, your agreement with them should be, um, it, yeah, if you want to use social media, um, can I follow you? So they want to go on Facebook or LinkedIn or something like that. You ask them if you can follow them on whatever social media it is that they're using, so that you can keep them accountable, right? And it is good
Mm-hmm.
training, because
Yeah.
it it will prevent them from later on getting into problem, because as you said earlier, Tom, some adults become addicted to the internet, and they start having extramarital affairs with people on the internet, right? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what is recommended for some adults is that if you have a social media account, you make your spouse follow you, so that your spouse can tell you, I don't think that's appropriate. You understand? So I'm saying, for your kids, you do the same
Mm-hmm.
thing. I mean, I know it's not easy, because the first thing I told my son was that, look, don't. um, communicate with people on the internet that you don't know, you know? And at 7 years, I saw him get up and go look for a pen and start to write down some numbers. And I was looking at him and I recognized he's writing an IP address down. And I asked, "What is that?" He said, "That's so I can play with somebody, a friend." I said, "But we told you, if you're going to talk to people online, you need to let us know, you know." But so if he was in his bedroom, I wouldn't have noticed that. And also with he is supposed to let us know when he opens accounts, but in many cases, after the fact. For example, all the kids are on Discord app, right? And so that's how they communicate.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they're in class, they're messaging each other.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Mm-hmm. So, so your son is 12 years old, and he agree into this, Kuya? When you said that
We
you're gonna follow, and he agreed on
he's
it.
not as well. The only I guess you could regard it as a social media is
Mm-hmm.
this card app. That's the gamers use that app to
Mm-hmm.
communicate. Um, I'm not. No, I'm not on Discord, but
But do you have a way where you can see his activity online, or no?
um,
No, there's no.
no, I haven't figured that one out yet.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but
But can you make some limitations? Like you can. What my wife do is she uh, she limit into 1 hour, or 30 minutes, even though she's still doing something. But when the time lapse, it will automatically, uh,
shut off,
I think the computer will shut down. But I don't
shut
know
down.
if,
Yeah.
yeah, shut down. But I don't know if she can see my daughter's activity online. I don't know.
Mm.
Uh,
Well, in the absence of that, what we do, we try to find out who is it that he's speaking to, and many of those that he talks to are children of our friends, family friends. So
okay.
yeah, but definitely,
And
if it's Facebook or um, Twitter or any of those things, um, we would want to be following him
mhm,
because um, the last person to recognize that you have a problem, it's you yourself. You see,
mhm, yeah.
so it's you. The best practice is to have an accountability partner.
Mhm. I think, yeah, the parents should be the model, huh, in the family. Uh, Another thing there is, of course, your son is still young, and my kids are still young. Maybe I think we have to start some conversation regarding internet, because once they're older, I think I heard from Jeffrey before that when Jeffrey start talking to his kids that, okay, we will monitor, your your Facebook or whatever, and they refuse, Jeffrey, right? For what?
Yeah.
Why? Something like that. So they're old
Right,
and
right.
they already refuse, right?
Mm-hmm. They
Yeah,
say I'm nosy.
Yeah, well, the culture
yeah.
would let them give
Yeah.
them that impression, but
Right.
you have to counter that and ask them, look, what are your expectations older, right? Um, would you want that
Mm-hmm.
you're married to someone and they're online 6, 7 hours and you don't know who they're talking to and what they're talking about, right? If you really
Mm-hmm.
love a person, love involves element of trust, right? And you have to be able to trust them to that extent. Look, I have a cell phone and my wife has a cell phone, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we each have pins that we use to sign in. My wife
Mm-hmm.
knows my cell phone pin. I also know
Mm-hmm.
my wife's cell phone pin
Mm-hmm.
number, right? So
Okay.
anytime she can pick up my phone and search it, and anytime I can pick up her phone and search it. It's not that you don't trust each other. It's that we have a high degree of trust in each other. I
Mm-hmm.
don't
Yeah.
pick up her phone to check through her message to see who she's talking to. Of course, she's talking to people in Tagalog, and I don't understand that. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but yeah. So my counter to the kids would be, look, this is what you will expect from your spouse. And if you practice it now, it's not going to feel weird later.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to force them to rethink, do I really need to have a social media account? You know?
Yeah. So the point
Um,
there is building trust. Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah,
Starting with you as a couple, with us as a couple. So,
exactly.
uh, and your kids, kuya, 12 years old, does he have his own cell phone already or not yet?
Yes, he has a cell phone, but it's
Mm-hmm.
a flip phone, and it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have it's not a high powered phone,
And
so because
yeah,
some people you can use your cell phones. I mean, cell phones are so powerful now that you
yeah.
can do everything on your cell phone that you can do with your laptop,
Mm-hmm.
right? And as I say, it's like playing whack-a-mole. You say, get up, turn off the TV, pick up the laptop, get off the laptop, pick up the tablet, get off the tablet, pick up the PS2, you know. So um, for now, I think that's good enough because basically it's just to communicate, especially in times of emergency
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. But you know, so it's going to be an ongoing conversation, and I let him know what we expect from him. What are the expectations that
Mm-hmm.
um, we want to see from him, and as we see him mature, then he can get um, you know some something that is more appealing to him. You understand? Because the thing is about this internet addiction and digital media addiction is that when
Ikaw.
the kids get
Yeah. Hi.
into it, it really
Huh?
controls their behavior, and their behavior becomes a problem. You know, they get out of hand. So as the he shows greater maturity and responsibility, then um, we can relax, a bit more. Because sometimes the argument that the
Yeah.
kids use, oh, I am 14 years of age. I'm entitled to having a cell phone. And I always ask, where is that? Where in the Constitution does it say that? You know, because their friends have, they want to be like their friends.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I think it starts with an early conversation and letting them know what you expect of them, and let them know when they go over the mark, and where they need to improve. You see?
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess parents out there, maybe you can relate onto this. Maya Kawakami, make a shout out. I don't know how old your kids, Maya, but eh, as what Kuya Brian is telling here, that it really starts with us as a couple, as a parent, you know, building trust with the parents, and as the kids see that, uh, I think there's no excuse for them to
Yeah, and
to not
modeling as
follow, or
parents,
at
modeling
least,
the right,
you know,
the behavior that
at least it
you
would be.
expect that your children to display. And I see
Mhm.
one of the guests saying she
Oh,
has four
Analu,
kids,
for
and and Analu,
yeah.
and
How old are they, Analo? Hmm? Oh, Analo, how old are your kids? Analo. It's, so I think, yeah. Another thing is what we're saying here is that the younger the better to start. You know,
yeah,
the
the,
role of the parents is really very, very important here. You know,
yeah. But listen
if
to,
we become neglected, we will suffer in the future.
yeah, the thing is,
As
with
you said,
kids of different ages, it's sometimes more difficult because what you allow the older kids to do, the younger kids want to copy, and they don't necessarily understand why is it
mhm,
um, my older brother or sister can do this and I cannot. So it's not easy for
mhm,
the parent. I remember there's one sister that said she had she has three boys, and she said she thinks she did a good job with the eldest boy, right? But
mhm,
the two that followed, they took their cues from the eldest, and she said, they got the better of her because
mhm,
um, they saw their elder brother, whatever they saw the elder brother doing, they wanted to do also,
mhm.
you know.
That's right.
So if you got more than one kids
That's
of
why
different
the
ages,
eldest should
it
be.
doesn't make it any easier.
We should focus on the eldest.
Yeah, usually.
Uh, Analo, I'm a widow now. Oh, I see. Analo, would you like to come over? We can discuss, there's the link, StreamYard. Akyat ka, Analo? Yeah, I think while your kids are younger, Analo, you have to start. I know it's hard. He's a widow, and she has 4 kids, and that's gonna be tough. Maybe uh, you know you cannot work anymore if you you have to spend taking care of your kids. But how you feed your family? So it's my eldest daughter is using my cell phone for module class. Okay.
Mm.
Akyat ka, Analo? You wanna come over? That's tough, kuya. But
Yeah,
but this is a good start, Analo, because while your kids are younger, you have to have the power or ability to control them while they're still young. Her eldest is 12 years old,
12 years. Yeah.
and by the time they're 18 or 20, almost it's too late. Here is Jeffrey. Here he has hard time, controlling the kids at that age already. So while young, I don't know. I think the best, you really have to focus. That's why parent is really is has a big role on this.
Yeah. And as they said,
If you want your kids not to be addicted.
yeah,
Mm.
they say,
Uh,
it takes a village to raise a kid.
mhm,
Um,
mhm,
don't feel, oh, I'm the only one that is experiencing this situation. You got to try and reach out, and you know other people might have strategies that um, work for them that you can apply in your situation too. So um, it's and like in America, the way that you get results is when parents come together and push back against um, what has been happening. Because, for example, uh, it was parents who pushed back on Apple and demanding that there be some way that parents limit their the time their children spend using digital devices that caused Apple to introduce
mhm,
parental controls. You know, so
mhm,
at your school, in your community, find out um, and gravitate to parents who have kids that are ages of your children, and come together with them, and uh, like for me at this time, I you know impose some limits in terms of, okay, it's okay up until around 7 o'clock to be on laptop, but after 7 o'clock, I think it's important that you spend family time. You
mhm,
try to eat dinner as a family, and also spend some time reading, because particularly with boys, teenage boys, they find that they read less, and it affects
yeah.
their comprehension and composition skills. You know,
Mhm,
this is a time when you should be reading more, you know, and developing your comprehension and your composition skills.
mhm,
But unfortunately, there is a lot of competition for their time. And um, for me, one of the things that I have done, I spoken to my son and said, you need to read more, especially when I saw the article that came out about the problem with teenage boys falling back in their in reading and their comprehension skills and so on. And I said to myself, look, spend some time reading in the evening or in the morning. But, you know, it didn't make any difference. So what I did, I, you know, after we watched Jeopardy, I pick up a book and I said, okay, I'm going to read it to you. You know, so we play. I read one page, he reads another page, and that's how we do it. So you got to invest in
It's good that he
a
found it. Yeah.
relationship,
Mhm.
right, to get back the returns that you expect.
Mhm. Mhm.
So what that
Yeah.
means to me is that I work with computers, so all day I'm online. So when I come home, I don't sit down in front of the computer. I don't have my phone looking at it all the time. I just want, what can we do as a family that can better our relationship and help us to know each other um, on a deeper level, you know,
Mhm.
or find out how was his day at school and what he learned, something that he doesn't understand, you know.
And
Yep.
also, my children loves to dance, and that's good. They have a
Yeah.
activity, Uh, I, by the way, let me go back to what you're referring a while ago, Kuya, about the rich and poor. I think the rich people don't allow their kids to have, cell phone or laptop, uh, because they want their kids to be successful, and they know they are more knowledgeable, and they know the possibility, the effects of this. Unlike the
Hmm.
poor, they don't know much. They just bring their kids because mostly what makes them poor also is because they have the lifestyle also, you know, not caring
Poor
much. While as
choices.
the rich, they're busy. Yeah, they are really into success, and they want their kids to be successful. And what makes them
Yeah.
successful is they have a disciplined life, and they
Right.
want that for their
So
kids also, I
they
guess.
they spend more money on enrichment activities, going
Mm-hmm.
to sports, whether it's playing soccer, um, tennis, and other activities, you know. So
Uh-huh.
enrichment activities and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just other things
Yeah,
that can occupy their time.
mhm.
One thing, probably I would suggest, like if you really want to buy your kids like a cell phone or a laptop, you need to really have a like boundaries, or like limit them, like or yeah, that's like Brian was saying, like you need to be in a public place, or and also during nighttime
Living room.
you should uh, not give their cell phone with them, like
Right.
yeah,
For me,
yeah,
when
because
they
that's
come, I
Mm-hmm.
I'm going I'm going to ask, give me a cell phone, or you have what is called in my son's school. They have I forget what it's called, but it started in New York, at the Metropolitan Opera, people cell phones would go off in the middle of the show and distract the singers on stage. And so there is this bag. Let me ask my wife. What's the name? Jessica, what's the name of the bags that they use in the school? But it's a bag. When they put the phones inside it, it doesn't receive any signals.
Oh wow.
You can
Oh, yeah.
buy it off the
That's
internet, right? So when they come home,
mm,
you just put their phones in a bag like that, and they won't receive any calls or texts or anything. Just take it offline.
Hmm. Yeah, probably. You have to let
you put
them know.
the cell phone in the bag, and then when they take it out, they cannot use anymore, something like that?
No,
Or
no, no, no. If
No, while it's in the bag,
yes, yeah.
I have I
uh-huh.
have what is called a Faraday bag, right? In
Okay.
Mhm.
in in digital forensics, when you're investigating um, someone's cell phone, right?
Mhm.
You want to take it offline. So you put it in what's called a Faraday cage. Like if the police sees a phone from someone, right? They put it in what's called a Faraday cage.
Mhm.
So when it's in this cage, it cannot receive or send signals. You see? So a company has set up a business and it started marketed to Metropolitan Opera, and the school that my son goes to, they also work with the schools. So during the day, when the kids come to school, they need to put their phones in this bag, right? And they can only take
Okay.
it out at the
Mhm.
end of the school day.
Mm.
Mhm.
So I think
Oh, that's
you
good.
know that's what you need to have.
Yeah, let them know that
Mhm.
cell phone is not a right, but it's a privilege for them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not written in the Constitution.
yeah, it's not a right. So yeah, anyway, also like the problem with cell phone or internet games right now is like so many things like popping up like advertisement and like most of the time it's pornography. That's why a lot of
Mm,
kids are now addicted to
Mhm.
pornography.
yeah,
So much problem now is pornography with kids
Yeah.
as
yeah,
early as, yeah,
it's right at your
10 years
fingertip.
old. It's and then also like so many viruses, my we got like maybe 3 laptops already not working because of too many viruses because of this computer games.
Yeah, um,
Mhm.
that is why for me, right? I have my own laptop, and then we have a family desktop computer. So before um, March of last year, my son didn't use my laptop because my personal laptop, I use it to do online banking. And
Mm,
so I don't want anyone playing online games on my laptop because the next thing
Mhm.
you know is that there's going to be some virus or
right,
some hacker's going to get onto my laptop, and next thing you know, my bank account is cleaned out.
right.
You know,
Mhm.
um, yeah. So for me, look, I haven't used an antivirus for the last 10 or 15 years.
Mm.
But I have never had um, a problem with viruses because I do not click and think, if somebody sends me, click on this link, I'm always looking to see, especially if you got a PayPal account
Mm.
and Apple also, you get a lot of scam emails to click on this thing or they send you some message. Well, of course, that is the area in which I work with. So I maybe I am more aware of those things than most people would be. But yeah, if I don't know you, I am not going to open an email from you or click on anything. So
Mm-hmm.
we got to get into the habit of doing
Mm-hmm.
this. Even for somebody you know, before you click on stuff that any link that somebody sends you, you get on the phone and you call them and ask them, you sent me a link because uh,
Mm-hmm.
um, a lot of people getting their accounts hacked.
Right.
And, you know, you get a link and you click on it. The next thing you know, you've been hacked too
Right.
because you're in
Mm-hmm.
somebody's contact list. And they just go through the contact list and they send to all the person's contacts. So you got to be careful
They sell you
in
information,
that
huh?
way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think even these business ads were in so many asking they just want your email or to get more information about this and that. You know, they try to find ways to get information about you, and then when you get them without your knowledge, you've been receiving a lot of emails and other stuff.
Mm, yeah.
Uh, this there's a study that this psychologist headed by Dr. Kimberly Young that they're treating when it comes to kids mostly they're treating kids who are addicted to games. So mostly kids they're into games addiction,
Mm-hmm.
and then they also treat Facebook moms. This is a word. Facebook moms, wherein they said there are many parents, mothers also who addicted to games in Facebook like Candy Crush Saga,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
which they forget to pick up their kids in school, forget to give them good
Yeah.
dinner, put them to sleep, and something like that. These are moms, and also they're also treating adult men, and mostly adult men's problem on internet is pornography. So this is the number one problem of adult men, when it comes to internet addiction. Aside from games, is pornography, more on pornography. So that's the three main problem they're dealing with right now. And there is this how do you call this, International Congress on Internet Addiction. They discuss about this matter, and Korea, especially Korea, are really into it. And there's a government intervention in Korea, also in Japan. But sad to say, they said that in America there's not much government intervention. So probably uh, I don't know, many things behind the government that they don't, because of course mostly how do you call this? Mostly business, other stuff can be dealt with in online now. So that might be one problem why why the government don't intervene with these problems. Only one good thing here in America is that there are a lot of private, NGOs, non-government organizations who are really working to resolve this problem. But the
Yes.
government is not really that, really serious in involving with this kind of problem, actually.
Right. Well, in some cases, the government is the problem because um, now in some states they are having online only kindergarten schools, you know, which
Mm-hmm.
some people think is a bad idea because kids need interaction for social and emotional learning, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because yeah, with the current pandemic, it's really put a strain on parents in trying to bring about some limits and controls.
Yeah, especially that uh, that if the parents are, husband and wife are both working,
Mm-hmm.
and kids are having an online class, what can we expect? Still, of course, if we can, the best idea supposed to be is, one of the parents should be on, monitoring the kids.
Yeah, and with the current situation, the parents are at their wits' end. They want the schools to open back right now, and in many school districts, that's a big problem. Um, the parents who have money have taken their kids out to the public schools and enrolled them in private schools, right?
Mm-hmm.
The recently there was a news article which talked about the uh, drop in public school enrollment, and like parents who have kids who in the teenage years, uh, in high school, um, they have been complaining about the falling grades of their kids. And so, because they're concerned about their kids' future, they move them from the public school into the private schools, which in many cases are open, and they're able to get a regular school experience and
Mm-hmm.
continue with their studies.
To have
Because
more control, they have
people
more
have been
control on the
asking
kids.
what's going to happen is there going to um you know should we ask get our kids to repeat this year because it's like a last year, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think, yeah, and private schools have better way of managing the kids, compared to public schools. Of
Yeah,
course, we
well,
need to spend more to do that. But I think,
yeah,
yeah.
right now they're the private schools are open and they're functioning normally. Um, you know, and that's what the kids are accustomed to. Because one of the things about this situation now is that when the schools open back, it's going to take some adjustment for the kids to adjust back to normal school. You know, um, as I see it, it's going to take some time to open up the schools. Um,
Yeah.
the most likely scenario is a hybrid system where they
Mhm.
alternate the days in which they go back to school. You know, there are a lot of questions that we don't have answers
Mhm.
to as yet, you know, regarding the present pandemic. So, yeah.
I think this is only true
Not
to
only
California.
schools,
Some other
even
states
work.
are already open. Is it?
States, yeah,
Yeah.
some states have regular schools. I guess mainly in the South. Um, you know, schools are open back up and so on, but you know, in California, no.
And also the problem is not only schools. Most most jobs are online also. So even adults, of course, you work online, but as you are into internet, there are also some distractions there. Uh, I heard I see some studies that there are people who are working in who are working outside in the office, and yet they get fired because they're doing some kind of watching some pornography or some other things uh,
Mm.
in the internet at work. How much more now that most people are working online, right? At home. I mean,
Well,
if
by
the
and
people
large,
mm, if
from
some
what I've
people
heard, the there was a fear that there would be a loss in productivity because of distractions.
mhm,
But
yeah,
it seems like people have proven to be more productive while working from home, and
oh, yeah.
so most of the workplaces are happy.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Hmm. Not interesting. Yeah, it means you're improving somehow.
Yeah.
uh,
What? How about
I
you,
I read.
Brian?
Me?
Do you feel like you're productive while working at home? Because some people like oh, kind of bored, like working at home. They want to.
Well, before, right? Um, I didn't work at home. I went to work, and when I left work to come home, I was completely off the grid. But now I think I've been working more hours because, um, you know, I log in at 8 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes at 8 o'clock at night, I'm still logged
Working.
in, or you know,
Oh, okay.
because some of my team members are in other parts of the world, you know, in Europe, in Asia, and so it's much easier for them to communicate with me now. And so sometimes I find,
Mhm.
you know, at night I'm online.
Maybe it depends on
Also, you,
Do you
yeah.
have
Also,
what
you
kind of
cut time for
a cell phone bag?
you cut
online.
time for travel, kuya. So, like for example, I don't know how you long. how long you gonna go to work? Maybe it took me 1 hour to go to work and 1 hour to come back. So
I
instead
spent
of
like three
using that
hours a
travel,
day commuting.
oh yeah, see,
Same as mine.
3 hours a day
Same as me.
for just traveling for the
Yeah,
trip.
yeah.
Yeah, so see, so that saves you. Instead of using that for traveling, you use it for work. Then, of course, you're gonna be more productive on that. That could be the positive side of that. John Bell, good morning. Mega shout out, kapatid. Let me shout out these people first. Thank you for coming. Mavids, Sky Tools Review, Ana Lusuliano, John Bell. Ana Lu said, you say, it depends to the teacher because my neighbor, his child is on private school, but his child did not know how to read and count. Right? It
I
depends
think
to the teacher. Ano yung
most
sinasabi mo dyan?
private schools here, they have smaller class sizes, and there's more individualized attention, and I think parents have higher expectations. So if you are enrolled in a private school and they aren't meeting your expectations, just seek out another private school. It doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, John Bell. Let me read some suggestion from. Actually, I watched this in YouTube. So there are many ways to do this. Of course, whether your kids are studying in private or in public school, I think is still you parents have a great role in
Yeah.
disciplining the kids. And some suggestions to better manage technology every day is that one, according to Dr. Kimberly Young, check your checkings. So let's say how many times you check your cell phone each day. Uh, because some people, check their email, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter 50 times a day. Maybe we can find ways to limit it. So if you are aware of it, because some people are not aware of it, and because of that, we have less time on uh, normal communication. We are more online and less on physical presence. So be more present with the person around you. uh, I myself and some others, we try to multitask, but according to study, we cannot really multitask. We end up
Correct.
doing less than focusing. So there's some meetings where they're having meeting and some people are looking at the cell phone while having meeting, and they cannot get what is, they cannot multitask, they cannot listen and checking their cell phone at the same time. So there's no way. So uh, we have to have no choice but to limit our how do you call this, our our engagement with or this technology. And also second is set time limits. Of course, as a parent, how many times we check cell phone in front of the kids? That's another thing. Or if we limit the kids or restrict the kids about cell phone or internet engagement. How about us? We are modeling actually, and you cannot tell something to the kids that you cannot do, right? So you are a great factor in disciplining the kids. Just like just like what happened to us. I myself, sometimes I restrict my kids, but he saw me doing this. I'm on. Sometimes when I'm aware, I set aside my cell phone. But there are times I'm not aware. We're eating and then I'm looking at my cell phone, which I supposed not to do it. And yeah, so what kind of behavior are we modeling if that's the case, right? So there's suggestion that if you're a couple, leave the cell phone at home and go out for dinner. Yeah, before when we go out for dinner, I saw a family. They have a family dinner in the restaurant, but they're not talking because the father is on his cell phone, the mother is on his cell phone, the kids are on his cell phone, and the table is so quiet. And what can we expect on that? So we cannot replace the human connection with these devices actually. And also number 3 is disconnect to reconnect. They suggest that we have to have a tech-free family time, if possible, every night. If not set limits, they suggest every night. Okay, so maybe I don't know about me, but at least we set some time wherein let's say family dinner, or even after dinner, maybe at least even 1 hour of no tech device on the table, or so what we gonna do? Of course we talk, and we become aware, and we can strengthen that relationship. Because what happened is we try to replace human connection through this digital thing. Alison, make a shout out, kapatid. That's why I'm so busy, sir. Sabi niya. Busy what? Busy Analo? Busy for the kids? Okay. So what else we gonna talk about? Let me see some questions. So what's the specific age? Of course, there's no specific age, right? But as early as 2 or 3 years old, Kuya?
Sorry? Specific age for?
For cell phone or
digital.
How do you call this?
Okay, so
For
I
us
think that
to give like either to own or to hand a cell phone or iPad to the kids. Of course, for us, there's no other way because it's because of this online, online class, right?
yeah.
But
Unless you send them to a private school where there's no online class, there's in
yeah,
person.
but the age where we can buy a cell phone for them to have their own.
Um,
Uh,
I would wait.
what do you think would be
I would try to put that off for as long as possible. But certainly, you know, I guess like by middle school, which is I was trying to put it off until like 13, but it actually happened
Mhm.
at around 11 years, which I thought was too early. That's why I just bought a ordinary flip phone, you know.
Mhm.
But you
You mean
try to delay it until
13,
as late as possible.
13,
Yeah, 13, 14 years.
13 with a smartphone? With a smartphone, we can where they can have access to everything.
If you can get away with just buying uh, an ordinary flip phone or dumb phone, um, start with that.
Mhm. If I can only have a if I can only buy a phone that is only for calling, I I would rather buy one like that.
Yeah, I was thinking the same
Anyway,
thing too. Or if I could
but
ask the company, you know, this can I ask that this phone only receive calls, you know, and it
something like that.
doesn't stand out. But no,
Yeah, the problem with
I
that,
think
uh, when you buy them cell phone, they're
maybe
like kind of left out with their classmates. So there was like there is a
yeah,
pressure.
that's one thing.
yeah,
Maybe
yeah, it's
that's
That's
peer
another
pressure
thing. You know?
peer
is
pressure.
great.
Uh-huh.
They kind of left out, and they were like, yeah, yeah. Sometimes that's why it's really a big problem. You know, like sometimes you cannot let your kids be left out. Also, you know, sometimes that's why
Yeah, from
parents
technology.
uh tend to make their kids happy. That's why they also buy them like high tech phones like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. But we, that's why we should be involved. Like uh, that's what I'm always like mentioned earlier. Like we need to explain our kids that cell phone is not a right, but it's a privilege. So should be a timeout for them to
Right,
be in their cell phone, like especially in the
Mm-hmm.
nighttime, there should be a timeout, or their laptop. Yeah, like you need to be in a public place, or in a living room or anything like that.
correct. Um, so
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying, Jeffrey. You can,
Rod.
and you have to know your kids, right? So when they ask for the phone, it's time to have a discussion.
Right.
And you discuss with them your
Yeah.
expectation.
Yeah.
So they know beforehand, well, look, um, when they come home in the evening after 7 o'clock, hand over the phones,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
No calling or receiving calls at night unless it's about homework, right?
Yeah, and also like it's also very good and necessary, good to explain the reason why you're doing it, because if you're just saying it, oh, give me your phone, and but without explaining the reason why, it is not also good. So you need to explain the reason why you're giving this restriction to your kids. So
Correct.
yeah, because if you just take their phone, and that's not uh good. uh you need to, yeah, always give a reason why you're having a restriction to their phones.
Mhm. Okay, let's hear from the audience also. By the way, Rod's Dr. Strange, thank you very much. Make a shout out. Inday Lagi, make a shout out. So, Rod's Dr. said, when is the right time me and my husband agreed to give my child a phone in high school? I got my own phone at age of 18. Anyway, Rod's Dr. Strange, your generation is different than their generation. So, and even my generation, when I got my phone at the age of, I think, 20 or 30, something like that, I'm so proud. But the generation is different. But anyway, let me see. And also said, I was left out at school, but it wasn't a problem to me. My older siblings let me borrow theirs when I need to contact my friends with projects. Yeah. So
Yeah.
your generation, uh, yeah, of course, if we can still implement that with our kids, of course, it's good. But if the kids feel left out with the technology, I don't know, because our generation is different than theirs. Of course, my generation is older than yours, Rhodes, Dr. Trench. I think, Rhodes, you're 34, right? If I'm not mistaken, you're 34 or 33. And the younger generation are more advanced. So it's harder. It's harder to, restricts this younger generation than our generation. Skytools review, make a shout out. So I think for me the best thing we can do is you know, of course the parents has a great role on this, but that is how can we restrict our cell phone connection to important matters like dinner time or weekend weekend activity where we can maybe I don't know if we can do. I haven't tried it yet, but there's a suggestion here that why don't you go out as a family, leave your cell phone at home. I haven't tried that one, but it could be good, right?
Or at
Wherein
least,
or at least what?
well,
Yeah.
um, I mean, I go out with my phone, but you have an agreement
Not use.
that
Uh-huh.
we're going to have dinner, and you put the phone on silent. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when it's
Or we only
on,
use the phone,
and every
or we only
time
use the phone.
it dings with when you get a notification, that is
Mm-hmm.
distracting. So you can just turn off the notification and put it away. And if somebody
Mm-hmm.
calls, you just check to see if it's an important call that you need to answer now, or you just ignore it and make a mental note that you need to call the person back a little later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh, Also for me,
But
maybe I don't leave my
certainly,
cell phone at home, but
uh-huh. But yeah,
but
I think a good thing is
I need
that
to make
you
sure
decide
that.
not to use it at dinner.
Mhm. But for a weekend event activity, maybe I may not leave my cell phone at home, but I will bring it purposely for communication only. Like for example, where are you now, or something like that. You go for hiking, and
Right, right,
this one
right.
goes here and there. something like that, for family communication, not really to, do something, maybe checking Facebook or whatever, something like that, wherein we can restrict ourselves, we can disconnect so that we can reconnect more, maybe, really intended for family thing, something like that. Rose Dr. Strange said, that's why I said my son can get it in high school because their generation are advanced. Because on my generation, I got mine at age of 18. High school, what? How old is high school? 16? Oh, no. How
30.
old is high school here? Huh?
Oh, where? In California? I mean, US or
Here
in
in
Philippines?
America, yeah.
15, 14.
Here in US.
US is
14
14 or 15.
Mm-hmm.
high school.
15, they're in high school.
14
Oh, I see.
in
Okay.
first year.
So Rose Doctor Strange is saying that you will get a phone for your son when they're 14, something like that.
8,
High school.
14, yeah.
No, 14. Allison said, I think the most important is the parents' guidance for their children. But some parents, they love their children by buying material things to keep them stay in quiet maybe, instead
Quiet.
of giving them time. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
That's true.
becomes
Babysitter.
of course it's the weak points of the parents also, as the, that they give this as like their joy, like a gift
It becomes
to their
an
kids.
expression of their love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, expression of their love. I think that's what Allison wants to say in here.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because
but to the point of
listen to this. You remember the marshmallow experiment I talked about at the beginning, which of delayed gratification. So there were some researchers who did the same tests, but they're introduced. Well, when the test was done first, it was only done on 90 kids. So they expanded the number of kids that were tested. They also made it more diverse, right? Because the 90 kids that were tested in the 60s by this researcher were from Palo Alto. And we who are from California know what where Palo Alto is, and
yeah.
how uniform the kids are in Palo Alto. There's lack of diversity, right? So this experiment, they repeated it. They introduced diversity, larger sample size, and they did it across geographical area, as well as different income levels. And what they found, which was in keeping with this other article that I mentioned, is that what they found was that the poorer kids were the ones who were affected the most. And because they said that poorer parents, they have a harder time in resisting their kids' pleas for these things. These digital instruments. are the kids, the parents know that it's not good, but then they don't want to be the mean mom,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm.
And so yeah, so they concluded that one's income level it is the greatest determinant of how a kid will be affected. So the more affluent a kid is, the more the parents are able to um, give them the attention and engage them in enrichment activities and exercise more control over them.
You mean the more the parents? You're talking about the more affluent the parents.
Yes.
The family. Yeah.
So that was what they found.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Doctor Strange, I guess you graduated in Philippines, right? Because in in our generation, we become high school at the age of 12 or 13.
Yeah.
But in America, it's older.
14.
Yeah. We tried going out without phone because we are hiking, Rose Doctor Strange said. And Inday Lagi said, my kids become addicted on Mobile Legend. Even
Yeah,
harder to talk with them when they're playing. Yeah, yeah,
correct.
that's why
Yeah, that
once we
particular
lose
game,
the
League of
control
Legends,
over it,
is one of the big problems today.
One
And
big
Fortnite, yeah.
problem today in Fortnite. Yeah.
mhm. But aside from internet, there's also a specific device that's only for games, Kuya, right?
Yes, you got different gaming consoles.
Yes,
I see
you
that.
got the
You know,
Uh-huh.
Microsoft got a gaming console.
Yeah.
Um, that you got the Wii, the PS2.
Mm-hmm.
My wife correct me. She says the PS4 now. So,
Mm-hmm.
so some kids got all of these things. You got Xbox, they got PS4. You know, um, and you know all the different consoles.
So I guess most of these addictions happen on mostly on poor families. Uh, with what I understanding with what you're saying, Kuya, because I think uh,
It's much harder for poorer families to be able to exercise control. Let's put it that
mhm.
way.
Yeah, and why?
Last option.
Because the richer families can pay for someone to
Uh-huh.
watch their kids not
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
digital devices.
Hmm. Yeah. So what can the poor family do so that
Well, you
they
got to
can?
educate yourself and
Hmm.
come together and strategize. You know, find other parents and
Community. Yeah.
supportive friends and work together,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Hmm.
The, you know, I try to schedule more activities, um, outside of the house to keep my son engaged. They call them enrichment activities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, keep him on a tight schedule, going here, going there, doing this, doing that. You know, because the more time they have, the more time they waste.
Mm. Yeah. Especially in America, where we really have to find ways to take initiative, not only as a family but as a community.
Yeah,
Unlike,
because of course we got always on internet. You know, because like last year, January, um, he went to the Philippines, spent 2 weeks, but it wasn't a problem. He did a lot of reading, and of course, they were,
mhm,
visiting family and friends, and
mhm.
you know, so there was always something new to do every day. But you know, the pandemic and distance learning has kind of amplified things a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I think even in Philippines, uh, it depends on your family and relative situation also, because before, when we went home, uh, I thought we are more into technology, but you know my younger brother, who has younger kids, are more into technology, than my kids. We're preventing our kids from technology, and now I see them, they're playing with the iPhone. I don't know. I think age 3 or 2, something like that, becomes the a babysitting. The technology becomes the
Yeah,
babysitter of children.
yeah. That age they
And the
should be
older
playing with
kids,
with,
they have
with
their own phone.
Legos.
Mhm.
They should be playing with Legos at that age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that should be better. Hmm. So if they're not on their phone, they're on the TV. You know,
Yeah,
I was surprised the TV is open, although it's a kid's cartoon thing, but I think still we have to limit, right?
correct, correct.
Surprised that
Because yeah, when we
because
talk about digital media, we include TV, um, laptops, tablet, consoles. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah. So while for the parents out there whose kids are still very young, I think uh, we really have to be very serious into this before it's too late. You know,
Yeah.
uh, Here we have a testimony of parents whom their kids are already older. It's so hard already. It's so
Yeah.
hard
My son now is like
to. Mm,
overweight. He cannot even,
mhm,
sometimes he cannot even go out and make pee. I saw him one time collect like so many peas on the bottle, or like, well, bottled water. It's just they don't have time to go
mhm,
pee or anything, or even sometimes eat. If you don't call them to eat, they don't have time. And even they eat, it's just like they didn't even have time to chew their uh, food
mhm.
so they can go back to the games.
yeah.
It's really bad.
Wow. It's- and this and kids also start to learn how to lie
Yep.
because
Yeah.
right, yeah,
Yep.
they lie a lot of things because they're already losing control, you know.
Correct.
But I guess according to some studies that in America, family dinner is becoming less and less, and when the family dinner becomes less and less, depression arises also compared to the in the 19th century compared now. So it means at least maybe we can start from there, whether your kids are young or older, if we can at least start by, no technology during family, you know, or there's some suggestion that even after dinner, if we can set at least even 1 hour again, 1 hour, no technology. And then the parents say, what are we going to do? Of course, you have nothing to do except to talk, right?
Yes.
And then you have
Play
chance to talk to
games.
each other. So for parents out there and for us, I guess I think maybe we start from you know setting limits at least for family dinner, whether your kids are older or younger. Why don't we start from family dinner? Okay, no technology during family dinner, but of course parents has to initiate this one. Kids
Mhm.
kids are looking, they learn, they learn on what they see, not what we say.
Right.
And yeah, also there's some suggestion about like it's like a food that we fast, like for example weekend fasting of no technology, something like that, like going out. Of course, Dr. Ross Strange, she said they left their cell phone when they go out to walk or jog. uh, hmm, I guess you have no pocket in your jogging pants. But that could be a good suggestion, right? Do you leave your cell phone when you go out, Jeffrey? When you go out for jogging on
No,
Sundays?
I take it with me, but I play music while I'm jogging.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, play music. I listen to music. Not
Hmm.
I don't listen. Yeah.
Hmm. Also, some also suggested that it's not about uh, the problem of using the cell phone. It's about using the cell phone or using this digital, device the right way.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah. You need to discipline yourself.
yeah. And when we say using the digital device the right way, of course, avoiding the symptoms. They said this internet addiction disorder is the symptoms is for the kids when their grades are failing. That could be a symptom. When they're losing their health, poor nutrition, that could be another. When they're
Gaining weight.
what else? Losing sleep, yeah, gaining weight, losing
Gaining weight
sleep,
because they're just eating like
because
chips while they're playing.
yeah, mhm,
Chips and finger foods.
yeah, poor nutrition, yeah, those are symptoms, and symptoms of internet addiction. Of course, there's some other factor, but what can we, what will happen to us if we get addicted? This will really happen, right? else? Failing grades.
Change of behavior.
Yeah.
Yes, change of behavior.
Loss of self-control,
And also this loss of I forgot what the right term for that. Wherein they lost the interest to have uh, like outside activity, external activities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the right term for that.
Yeah, I find my son, you tell him, okay, let's go for a walk around the block. No, he doesn't want to do that. He just wants to stay inside all the time and play. No outdoor activity.
Yeah, outdoor
Yeah, that's why
activity.
they put on weight.
Right.
That's why we insist Tongi Modo every week.
Yeah.
Because otherwise there is no other
Activities.
activity that he's involved in.
Uh,
Yeah, we have to create more outdoor activities where we can involve large number of these kids, because yeah, if we cannot do this as a group, it's hard, just like my kids. If I say I let them do tong ilmodo, they've been refusing. But now when I told them that we went I think 2 weeks ago to Los Angeles with Alwin, where their kids age is almost close to my kids age.
Mm-hmm.
And for staying there for about 2 days, they become close friends. And then when I told them that, okay, you join Tung El Modo this coming Sunday, and if you want to watch, because that's the only time for them to watch TV, Sundays afternoon. If you want to watch, you join Tung El Modo. If you don't uh, join Tung El Modo, then there's no TV. And
Right.
before I have hard time, but when I told them, oh, uh, then we'll be joining also. And then
Right.
because that's their friend, they said okay. Yeah. So yeah, as a community, we can do better,
Yeah. You call it positive peer
But of
pressure.
course we do. That's right. But aside from that, of course, in our community, we need to revive again this outdoor activities that we've been doing before, and especially now that mostly us and the kids are really are online. They don't go to school. They do everything online in school, plus their games and other stuff. So we have less and less outdoor activities. At least before, when they go to school, they have other activities, right, aside from
Yeah, they
learning.
play with their
But
friends on the
now
playground and
they're
so on.
online. Yeah, they play with their friends. But now they're online. They're on the games. When they go to school, they go to school online. So mostly their time is been spent online.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when this pandemic ends so that we can uh, have better social connections where we can get together again and do some outdoor activities. But I guess we have no choice but to find ways still, despite of these activities. Oh boy, Voice America, mega shout out, ate. Would you like to come up, ate? Let me invite at Kuya. This is one of
Yeah,
our
I know.
very
Arteria.
good. Uh, you know, Ria.
Yeah, I know her.
You know, Ate Ria, you wanna come over? Yan yung ano. Yan. Oh, nawala si Jeffrey. TY sa invite Thomas. Okay. Akyat ka, ate. Bago tayo mag-end. Before we end, maybe we have a little more discussion. You know him, Kuya? You know her?
Yeah, I know her.
Kuya Brian?
Yes, I do. I know her.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay. Jeffrey said needs to go. Let's wait for him a little bit. Are you ready, ate? Here's the StreamYard. Okay. Yes. Are you ready, ate? Hello.
I just get in and I saw your topic. It is a good topic, Thomas. Hi, Kuya.
Hi, Ria. How are you?
I just get in and I saw. Sorry that I came in late. I came home late
It's okay.
from
You just came home
meeting.
from work? Oh, a
No,
meeting?
it's this online would be my fifth meeting today.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I understand.
online meeting?
No, I had 4 personal meeting, and then now is the online.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to see Kuya
Yeah.
Lancaster.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. How are you?
Good. So happy to see you and your wife and your very handsome son. And I saw Jeffrey there earlier, and then he dropped. He got
Yeah, I
dropped.
think he had to. He
Yeah.
had to
He said he
leave.
need to go.
Yeah. Your topic is very important, and I wish we have Uncle Pierre Borgard to join us because he has he's very concerned about this issue, and
Mm-hmm.
he uh, knows a lot of really good speakers who can talk about this issue. Thomas, I wish you can have a second
Yeah,
portion
maybe
and
maybe we can set another.
have Kuya Pierre Borgard talk about on your show because that is he knows somebody. I can't remember the name of the author, and that the passion is about uh, using the internet in a positive way and not making the internet not making us a slave to the internet, but
Yeah.
using the internet for our advantage, not taking advantage of others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right.
Sorry that I'm
Okay,
late
yeah, I
in
think we can set
discussion.
another thing for this. But maybe you can share a little bit also about Ate about your experience with your kids, because this is a big problem not only to adults but kids,
Well, my
and
kids,
many parents have hard time in disciplining their kids
luckily,
with regards to this matter.
my kids are no
But I
longer
don't know about it.
really kids because my youngest is 17, but this the phone and any gadget is not for young kids. It should be for it. This is like a drug for any toddler, and by the time you take this drug from them, it's hard when they
Yeah.
start to use this at a very young age. So I'm glad that my kids learn to use the cell phone by the time they are in high school, or but not at 2 years old or 1 year old, and this is the thing that they play, because you're like giving cocaine or some kind of drug in a different form. This is a drug to young kids if we did not become responsible.
Mhm.
um, we may think that it's just like the TV. When they're young, for them to be entertained, put them on TV and they're
Mhm.
glued. So by the time, the only thing that they keep absorbing is the television, and there's nothing much really good in the television that you can see. That's why I think good people should be involved and spoke or do things in the internet, so then the internet will be balanced, at least. Not only bad things will be there, but having nag-nosebleed daw siya. Sorry po. I have to speak because Kuya Brian Lancaster is not Filipino, although he's married to a Filipino. So um, I hope I'm making sense, because right now
Yes, yes, you are.
I'm so tired. I've been, as I told you, I had 4 personal meetings and now since morning.
Yeah.
And
This
yeah,
is only my second one.
that's good. My face is so tired already.
I'm glad it's my
Yeah.
first.
Hmm. Yeah, I endorse everything that
Yeah.
you have said.
Anyway, yeah.
And it's important. People don't understand the how altering of children's behavior, uh, you know, getting addicted to the internet and digital media is. And you know, as I said earlier, the companies employ people with PhD in neuroscience, uh, who set out to make these games and other things addictive. So you
Mhm.
cannot do battle with those people. You need to avoid it at all costs.
Mhm.
And as is appropriate to the age, you you interact with it, you know. But if you just have little or no self-control, it's going to devour you.
Mhm.
That's true. Even even
Yeah, I think
us as
mhm.
Yeah,
even
even
us
adults.
yeah, even as adults,
Adults.
especially I would say, this YouTube itself is very hard. Once you get involved, you have to keep going. Lately, I stopped doing the live streaming. I'm going to attend all the live streaming because it's very time consuming, and I have no time right now. And but it's a good way to disseminate the information. If we use the internet in a positive way, it can be very powerful. And in fact, we had to, because there's so much things that are just there as junk, and yet
Yeah.
people are watching it. And you notice, you do something positive that can influence something good, and no one watches it. But
Yeah.
you put something that is not really good, or something that's just I would say it's like junk food, and that's the one people debar.
Yeah.
And so
Mhm.
one time I'm realizing what is going on in our world today is because, just like what you harvest is what you sow. When as a gardener, I love to garden, and you can always see, if you planted something good, you'll surely harvest something good. And what we plant in the internet, in the media, on television, what we see are all things, especially I would say our Philippine. I'm not watching the Philippine drama, but just the trailer itself, the only thing they portray is all about a husband or a wife. The husband has to have another mistress, or the wife has to have another
Mhm.
lover. It's just like, what are you trying to show? This is becoming what we see. It makes it look like that's normal, because that's what the television is showing.
Yeah. Normalizing,
Yeah, normalizing
um, you know,
infidelity and
be,
cheating.
be, behavior that
Yes,
people used to look down upon
yes,
before. Yeah, and as they say, junk in
junk out.
equals junk out.
Hmm. And I think
Yeah,
for
that's right.
us, uh, we should demand something better than those kind of shows, especially in the among the Filipino community. I'm not back home in the Philippines, because this is happening too in America. That when I came in America, I work in a nursing home, and in 2 years' time that I was working there, I basically did not know the story when I arrived, but then you see in and day out, even though you're not watching, but all television in the nursing home is glued
Blasting.
to this soap opera. And in, in 2 years, the story revolves around swapping husband and swapping wives. And I was like, my God, that is why America thought that is natural. This is a norm, because that's what we see. And that is what's happening too in the Philippines. What GMA or TFC, what they promote is about this kind of love and or relationship. And so we think, even though in our subconscious mind, we know that is wrong, but that's what they portray on television. Sisters attacking each
Yeah.
other, brothers killing each other because of a woman, or sisters trying to demean the other because the other one wants the boyfriend of the sister. I'm like, what happened to our culture that is not supposed to be like that? And we allow it to be, that's the norm. That's now the new
And the problem is because that's what people wants to watch. That's the problem also. Even just
I
this one, my experience, kuya, in doing live stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I make when I have a specific topic, you
mm-hmm.
know, something that is I feel important, just like this one. I have about
Yeah.
7 to 10 people watching. But when
Yes.
I do some games,
Yeah.
I have 20, 30 people, in my live stream. And of course, as YouTuber, we are more on views. Okay, we are more on views. But after some time, I realize, okay, I start to stop this lifestyle because for me, even though I have 6, 7, or 10 people there, so long as they are interested in what I better focus there. I may not have more views compared to doing some games, but at least I'm putting an impact to at least 6, 7 people rather than having 20, 30 viewers, which I did not contribute to anything. Just yeah, that's the problem of internet.
Yes.
Even some of our YouTubers friends, also me myself, when I do some promoting activity where you promote your channel, a lot of people comes. But when I start to talk something about values or something,
They
maybe
run
have
away.
7, 6.
I I I think it's because we are going against the norm, but in what I would say, Thomas, just keep doing it because
Yeah, that's yeah.
somehow it will ignite the real self, which is
Mm-hmm,
goodness within us. We all long for something that has value because that's
mm-hmm,
innate with all of us. We seek for value, we seek for something good, even though in our mind and our body, it's always a, a fight, but
Mhm.
always
mm-hmm,
the good one will always prevail. So if
mm-hmm,
more of us will continue to do something like that, uh,
mm-hmm,
this YouTube will change for good. And
mm-hmm,
that's what I do too in my live streaming. I wanted to do something that can contribute, that when you listen, even 5 minutes you listen, you have something
mm-hmm.
that you will take after that. You wait for 5 minutes.
Mhm.
That's right. Yeah, it's a real struggle. At least you put an impact to may not be a large number of people, but you know you you deliver something important to even at least 6, 7 people, right?
Yes.
Rather than having 20, 30 people, but you have nothing in there. I also attended other live stream, kuya.
Mhm.
They have 30, 50 people there, watching, but nothing in there. Just giving and, some other nonsense things. And I said, I cannot do this. There are many ways to have many views, but that's not our intention.
Yeah,
Anyway, with regards
I
to this topic, yes, Ate, continue.
well, at, at least, Thomas, you're making a difference, and I hope others will learn and follow this kind of way of live streaming, so then we can continue to give value to the people who watch. To me, what most important is not the views, but when the live
Mhm,
streaming is, yes, it, you're looking for the views, but after that nonsense live streaming, who's going to watch that? But if you invest on
That's right.
something that is valuable, then one or two people will find that live stream and said, this makes sense. I will watch this conversation because I'm learning. And that is what YouTube is about. It's about what you can inform people and what people can get from that live streaming. So if most of our YouTube friends could understand that it's not the length of live streaming or the number of your people who's watching you in the beginning counts the most, but the content of that live streaming is what counts the most, because at the end, after 2 years, there's someone who will still be able to watch that one than something that has no value.
Yeah, that's one thing. At least whatever we talk about in YouTube, it will stay there. You
Yes.
know? and people, even after 1 year, 2 years, people will be watching it. That's one thing.
Yes. So you're investing for the future, not
Yeah.
for the present.
Okay, so we've been talking for almost more than 2 hours right now. So anyway, thank you very much, Kuya, and thank you very much, Ate. So any last words before we close? Maybe Kuya, you start. Or-
Yeah. Well, thanks for the opportunity of sharing some thoughts on this topic. And, as parents, we have to remember that we are our kids' first teacher. And,
Mhm.
let's use that to create a good and lasting impression that can launch them to become a responsible adults. So that's what I want to say. And thank you again.
Thank you very much, Kuya. Ate, mag-outro ka na rin?
Yes.
Tayo.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Thomas. And I'm glad I come up, even though it was a short. I hope that I was able to contribute something to this broadcast. And Kuya Brian, thank you so much. I'm glad to meet you in this live stream. One day I look forward to see you and your beautiful wife and handsome son. And Thomas, we look forward to see you in San Francisco somehow, someday. And thank you. And God bless you more.
Oh,
Okay.
thank you
Good
very much,
night.
Ate.
And
Thank you very much, Kuya.
okay, bye.
Thank you. Yeah, and good night. Okay, so nag-out na sila. Okay, so thank you very much. Sky Tools Review. Nagno-nosebleed ka man, but at least siguro alam ko naiintindihan mo rin, di ba? So, thank you very much everyone sa nandyan na nag-visit. And thank you very much for listening. I know we're thinking of doing another live stream with regards to this matter. And we will be inviting some more people who can, relate onto this topic. Because for me, it's very, very important. I think the main factor here is that we are losing family time because of internet addiction. Okay. And we don't only have this problem to our kids. We also have this problem to adults, to moms, to husbands, to our college students. Keep it up. Thank you very much, Ate. In general, I myself is addicted on internet for some time before. And even up till now, of course, using the internet, I have an intention, because internet is a very, very good source for information thing. And if we use it wisely, we can learn a lot. I don't need to go to the library to search on something. I just click on the internet. And it's very, very good tool actually for me. The only problem there is, we've been spending too much time on the internet that our time for family become less and less. And the effect of that, according to a study, is that family are becoming uh, depression arises, anxiety, depression, the millennials, the new generations are the most stressful, according to study that the millennials are the most stressful generation. And what makes them stressful is because of internet. And actually, even as parents, we have hard time in controlling ourselves and limiting ourselves with this device because they are really doing a lot of things, hiring behavioral experts to make this device so addictive that it's very hard for us to resist. Okay, and that's the main problem. But I wish we can promote more things that has something to do with family, because the family, we strongly believe that the family is the basic unit to have a better society and nation and world. Okay, and there are many people who says that we become more connected because of social media. Yeah, we are connected in some other ways, but this cannot replace human attachment, human connections. We cannot develop real, authentic connections through internet. I would like to relate one more example before I close. Oh, Maynard TV, make a shout out. We have a meeting, international meeting with our grandmaster in Korea. And he don't need to come here. We can always have Zoom meeting. But why he spend, time traveling to come here in San Francisco just to have this meeting, Well, in fact, we can do this in Zoom. We've been doing this meeting through Zoom. How come he still have to come here? Because he's not only after the meeting, he's not only after, what to say with us, but he's more on interacting like a parent to us as like his children. Okay. And we cannot replace that connection, human connection, through Zoom, through internet, So we use this internet as a communication tool to relate better, but we cannot use this to replace human connection, human attachment. To develop human attachment, you know, we really need the presence of each one. Human connection cannot develop with the two pieces of device, as according to Dr. Gabor Mate. So, yeah, this is a very important topic, and we're thinking of doing another session, another live stream with regards to this matter. Anyway, we've been spending almost 3 hours now talking about this matter. So anyway, thank you very much, Maynard. Late ka na. So I would like to end. At thank you very much once again for those who visit, try to listen about this discussion. Thank you for coming. Anyway, what we are talking about this is, how we can restore, return back again that family bonding, which we are losing because of internet addiction. Okay, and even by just starting with the family dinner with our family, you know, no device during family dinner. It's a small start, but we can start that way, and then we can go further onto that. You know? But if we can use this for good instead of this using us, then it will be on our advantage, not on our disadvantage. Busy kanina, may ginagawa, naglaba. Okay. Okay. Mag-e-end ako. Baka mayroon kang additional sabihin dyan, Maynard. Sige. Anong oras na? Oh, halos maka 3 hours na pala ako. Anyway, so next time uli. And I hope to see you again next, probably Sunday again. We always, I'm thinking of at least doing one live stream a week. And thank you very much everyone once more. Magandang umaga, magandang hapon, at magandang gabi sa inyong lahat. And see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye-bye everyone. Okay, next time na lang, Maynard. Okay? But salamat sa pakahabol. Oh, dito si Jomel pala. Pahabol, Jo. Okay. Kumusta ka pa? Okay, sige. I have 9 minutes left. Okay, gawin ko na lang 3 hours. Sinong gustong akyat dyan? Meron ako 9 minutes remaining. Akyat nga muna kayo, mag-chika tayo ng konti. Ayan. Bakit andito sila? Voice of America, Ninang. Shout out, sabi ni Maynard. Yeah. Almost 3 hours kami nagchichika dito kanina. So, I guess we talk a lot about this matter, which is not enough. Shout out sa lahat, sabi ni kapatid Jomel TV. Kumusta na ang ano mo? Kumusta na, Jomel? Nakuha mo na ang first salary mo? Ano, may akyat? Naku, wala, mag-i-end na ako. 8 minutes. Oh, sino akyat dyan? 8 minutes. Wala tang akyat. Tutugtog mo muna ako kay ano. Consume ko lang yung 8 minutes. Malayo pa tayong first salary. Wala pang 100, ano? Wala pa bang 100, kapatid Jomel TV? Sige, 7 minutes. Gawin ko na lang ano. Sino to? Gamitin ko muna yung kay ano, DJ Harry. .26. Mahina net ko, Sir Thomas. Di ako makaakyat. Okay.
Sunday, guys. At bukas na
Iba ata itong napasukan ko. Naririnig niyo ba yan? Ay, mali. Mali. Dapat pala buksan ko dito. John Bell, mega shout out. I-consume ko lang itong 6 minutes. Oh, andito si Menard. Hey, Menard.
Yes.
Kumusta kapatid? Ayan. Ang ganda ng ano mo ngayon Logo mo Gumagalaw yan eh.
Camera yun eh.
Bakit mahina ang boses mo?
Mahina ba
Dito
boses
lang
ko?
po. Ah?
Mahina ba boses ko?
Okay na, okay na.
Wala
Okay na, okay na.
mahina eh. Okay.
Nakita ko yung isang logo mo ng ano eh. Gumagalaw yung mata mo
Ano yun? Ginawa ko lang yun. Pwede rin yung dito.
Pwede palang logo yung ganun yung gumagalaw.
Ano lang yun, parang jeep yun. Hindi siya po pwedeng logo. Pang ano lang siya, yung mga moving graphics.
Ayan.
Kaya pwede yun.
Si John Bell ba sa Philippines o dito sa US? Ang alam ko, John Bell, di ba sa US ka? Dito lang naka-stay yung
andyan
bumalik
yan
sa
sa
pagtulog.
Nasa Dubai yan. Abu Dhabi yan.
Oh, really? Kapatid Jomel TV. Shout out John Bell. Sabi kapatid Jomel TV. Oh, akala ko sa US siya. Akala ko kasama nila
Abu Dhabi yan.
Santi Melchor sa Arizona.
Abu Dhabi.
Antok na ako. Naririnig mo ba yung sound na ito? Alam mo yung sound na ito sa isang computer, hindi sa kaya hindi ko alam kung naririnig. Sandali. Tingnan mo.
Hindi ko naririnig
Naririnig mo yan?
Oo. Mute mo. Nasa ibang LS yan?
Hindi. Lalagyan ko nga sana ng sound itong background sound. Pero dapat pala, kukunin ko yung sound dito sa mismo, no? Dahil dito, itong screen ko kasi yung TV. Pero yung sound na yon doon sa laptop.
Okay lang. Parehas lang yun.
Kaya parang hindi ata bumagay.
Hindi, pwede kang kumuha. Basta nagbukas ka ng isang tab, mapupunta yun yung sound. Lahat niya, mapupunta lahat sa isa mo.
Dapat pala binuksan ko sa Hindi, dapat dito ko pala buksan. Sa
Ito mo narinig natin kanina.
Kung saan ako nag-livestream. Sandali I-try ko to. Tanggalin ko muna yung nandoon sa
Ayan,
Oh. Yung sounds
Industry
niya,
standard, pristine, loud, dynamic, clear final masters. You've never been
bakit,
able to achieve it.
bakit yung sounds doon pa rin sa laptop?
Oo, siyempre. Lahat, di ba nakakonect lang naman yan sa TV mo?
Oo, pero yung ano, itong kwan, di ba? Itong live stream.
Mix is brought to you by Levi, DJ
Sandali.
Harry and the DJ Harry Lights and Sound.
Itong ano, itong nagbukas ako ng tab dito sa ano, sa screen dito sa TV.
Hmm.
Hindi sa laptop. Pero yung sound pa rin niya, nanggagaling pa rin sa laptop.
Oo. Ganun yun. Pero ang ano mo, di ba, lahat, kasi isa lang naman yung computer mo, di ba? So, lahat yan, pinanggagalingan yan
Oh.
sa laptop. Di
Mm.
ba? Lahat yan pinanggagalingan sa laptop. So, nilipat mo lang
Oh.
naman yung sound mo sa TV. So, siyempre, kung ano yung lumalabas sa laptop mo, yun din yung sound na nasa TV.
Oh, pero yung sounds natin dito, yung sounds sa TV.
Oo, lahat yan. Parehas yan. Parang
Pero yung
nilipat mo lang
sounds
yung
ng
sound.
Ah,
Wala na yun. Bali wala na yun. Yung sound ng laptop mo, mawawala na yun, mapupunta lahat sa TV. Siyempre, hindi naman siya ano eh, kumbaga sa isa lang yung device. So, isa lang yung pagkagalingan ng sound.
kaya nga eh,
So, ituturing
dapat
nyo itong nasa TV as one device din kasama sa laptop mo as monitor mo. Ganun ang ganun
So
ang
dapat So dapat yung sounds dapat sa TV, 'di ba? Hindi sa laptop.
Ba't
'Di ba?
lumalabas sa isa, ano? Computer?
Hindi yung sounds lumalabas pa rin sa laptop kahit nagbukas ako ng ano ng isang tab dito sa TV.
Hindi, di ba yung TV mo nakakonect yan sa laptop?
Oo. Pero tong live stream natin, 'di ba? Nito, nasa laptop ito ay nasa ano to.
Same lang yan, hinihilam mo lang naman yung tab eh.
Pero ano ang pakinig mo sa ano sa sound na 'yon? Parang hiwalay o
Hindi. Kasama nitong live.
so bumagay rin lang pala?
Oo. Kaya akala mo nang hindi bagay kasi malakas na.
Hindi, dahil sa akin, ang problema ko yung speaker dito, yung usapan natin, naririnig ko sa TV. Pero yung sounds, naririnig ko sa laptop. Yung sound ng yung sounds.
Maganda yun. Di mas maganda yun, dalawa yung sound mo. Pwede mo siyang i-control.
Pero yung audience, baka hindi magandang impact sa kanila. Baka hindi, baka halatang hiwalay.
Ayos lang. Hindi. Ayos lang yan. Kasi isa lang naman yung pinapanood eh. Oh. Isa lang naman yan as para kang pinapanood eh. Tingnan mo ako, magbubukas din ako ng sound. Isa lang naman din sa akin, kahit magbukas ako ng isang tab, hindi. Safe lang.
Yeah.
Makukonvert niya to isa.
Madalang na lang maka-join sa mga LS. Busy po kasi sa work. Okay.
DJ Harry and the DJ Harry Lights and Sound.
Okay lang yan, John Bell. Anyway, salamat din kahit pa nakabisit ka. Ay! Maynard!
Ay.
3 hours na ako. Mag-outro na tayo.
Okay, bye-bye guys.
Kailan ang LS mo? Bukas? Ay!
Tapos na.
Once a week ka lang ba o ano?
Once a week lang. Kasi nagbabalak ako.
So yun na ang LS mo, yung kanina?
Content na lang muna ako.
Yun ang LS mo? Okay. Sige, mag-outro ka na.
Okay, see you next time, guys. So, balik-balik lang kayo dito. Eto sa'yo, tuwing ganito ng oras. Kala ko nga gabi yung
Oo.
sa'yo, kaya wala akong hindi ko na naisip yung oras.
Mm.
Kaya sabi ko, mamaya pa naman yung
Inano ko to dahil mostly yung LS nyo is morning eh. Pati yung sila sila Edward, sila Juan, mostly ganitong oras eh. Ay umaga dito eh.
Hindi,
Which is gabi sa inyo, di ba?
gabi sa amin. No? Kaya,
Mostly gabi sa inyo. Mm. Kaya pinili ko rin itong gabi na na live stream ko. Anyan.
sa amin naman, umaga. Umaga naman yan sa'yo.
Oo, umaga sa inyo. Oo. So,
Kaya ako naman nilipat
bukas.
kasi pagkaalangan ako sa oras din. Saka isa pa nga, si Arthur, hindi na rin siya pwede umaga. Sige na rin siya pwede. And bye, John Bell. Thank you so much for coming.
Ano pala, meron akong
Okay naman yung boss ko. Tinago ko yung mic ko eh.
Ano?
Regular mic na itong ginagamit ko eh.
Oh, really?
Kaya naiba na rin.
Ito pala mga kapatid, meron akong premiere bukas. Ay, gabi pala sa inyo dyan. Ay, hindi. Anong oras na dyan? Morning, no? Ay, gabi. So ito, yan. Premiere, anong oras ba dyan bukas? Anong oras dyan na ngayon, Maynard?
Bali, ano to, mamaya to ng 8 hours dito. Ano mo, premiere mo.
So 7:30 bukas ng umaga dito. So it means dyan,
Mamayang
it's
gabi.
about 9:30 ata, no? Mamayang gabi. 9:30 o 10:30, mga ganyan, no?
Teka na,
I think, pag i-click mo, nag-appear yung oras, di ba?
Oo. Saka nag-a-upper yung ano. Ayan. So, bali dito,
Anong oras?
10:30 p.m. 10:30 p.m.
10:30. Okay, yeah. May premiere ako, mga kapatid, at 10:30 p.m. Philippine time. Baka naman, kung may time kayo. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Mag-outro ka na, Maynard. Nag-outro ka naman, hindi pa?
Okay na yun. Wala naman tayo ng ayos na yun. So, maraming salamat sa inyo, guys. So, patuloy lang tayo tumangkilik kay Thomas Sagayo.
Maraming salamat, Maynard. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, John Bell. Morning po dito sa amin, host. Morning. Iba pa lang Anong oras ngayon dyan, John Bell? Gabi rin, di ba?
Minus 4 mo naman yung sa kanila. Kung 2 o'clock dito, so mga sa kanya, 1, 12, 11, 10. Bali 10 p.m. sa kanila, 10 a.m. sa kanila. Minus 4 naman doon.
Oo. 10 a.m. I see.
Sa Abu Dhabi.
Hoy, DJ Harry!
Yan, shoutout dyan kay DJ Harry Light. Kita mo ngayon lang mga nagigisingan kasi ngayon lang mga puyat sa gabi.
Ay, oo. Hanggang anong oras pala yung live stream nyo doon? Nag-work ako, palabas-labas ako. Pagtingin, di pa kayo tapos.
Alas 2:30, alas 2. Bali, naka 4 hours. 5, din ako po.
Aya?
Ayos na yung one time lang, ayos na yun. Ngayon, ang iba na diskarte ngayon kasi mahigpit na ngayon eh. Kaya kailangan puro premiere naman ngayon ang diskarte.
Alam mo, nag-drop pala ako ng
Madidelete yun.
sa isang kaibigan, nag-drop ako ng Premiere ko na mayroong explanation.
Ah,
Ini-erase ba naman ni ini-erase ni kuan ni YouTube ni Google
Google
uh,
Moderator. Dapat para
Google
hindi siya
moderator.
magano, ayan, katulad ng ginagawa ni DJ Harry, nilalagyan niya ng may tuldok. Bawa, katulad niya to, wow. Sa akin kasi, yan lang, tinesting ko eh. So, wow, ganyan. Tapos yung link na. Bawa, ibababa ko tong link mo, tignan mo ah. Hindi to buburahin ni Google Basta may yung may parang tuldok, parang napansin ko sa kanya, ganyan eh.
Sige nga.
Hindi na siya, yan. Ayan. Hindi yan didelete ni Google. Yan ang premiere mo. Kahit lagay mo premiere, bawa premiere, lagyan mo ng tuldok.
I see.
Kasi parang naka-program siya eh.
10 a.m. Jan Bell. I see. Salamat, Jan Bell. Good morning, DJ Harry. I'm using your new...
Tingnan mo, hindi binubura ni Ayan, sa'yo yan. Yung mo. Link mo yan.
Oh, yeah?
Basta nilagay mo,
I see.
So, pag nilagay mo Premiere, Thumbtack, yan, medyo may siya eh, may naka-program yan eh. Naka-program na yan. Set up yan ang program. Pero pag yan ay ibinaba mo, hindi ka buburahin.
I see.
Tingnan mo, hindi ka...
So, kahit may explanation ka,
lagyan mo nung isa, may...
so, hati-hati mo yung Premiere. Kung diretso na sabihin mong Premiere yan, buburahin yan?
Oo. Tingnan mo, tatype ko. Buburahin yan eh.
Pero alam mo yung binaba ko nung hindi naman binura nung kaninang umaga.
Pasihan lang yan eh. Basta ikaw ang host, walang problema. Pero pag ibang nag-type, lang eh.
Hindi ako ang host. Yung binaba ko kahapon sa isang live stream, in-erase ni Google Moderator. Ngayon, kanina umaga, binaba ko ulit yung the same sa isang kaibigan ko nag-live stream. Hindi naman niya in-erase.
Yan. Tignan mo yan. Hindi in-erase. Premiere na yan. May tempo nga eh. So, pagka na-tempo mo ng ulitin mo lang ulit. Pagka recording mo. Makakalusot din yan. Nakaset kasi may may program na ginawa eh. So, kahit ano pa man yan, may lusot pa rin. Programming yan eh. Kaya natin yan. Tempuhan lang.
Anong may tupak DJ Harry?
Si Google daw. Mahirap talaga ngayon. Kasi pansinin mo na lang ngayon, may problema ngayon sa subscriber sa like kakancel.
Saka mayroong mga na demonetize daw, di ba? May mga na demonetize.
Normal lang yung mga demonetize kasi kasalanan naman nila yun. Pinapanood lang nila puro ads eh. Hindi naman nila pinanonood yung video. Pagkatapos makita yung ad, babalikan nila, papunta naman sila sa ibang ad naman. Ano yun? Diba? Normal yun. Hindi man lang napanood yung ginawa mong video. Pagkatagal-tagal mo in-edit, siguro mga 3 araw mong ginawa. Papanoorin lang yung ads. Ano yun? Diba? Saka isa pa, sila lang mismo yung gumagawa sa sarili.
Oo, tama nga baka day off ni Gogulo kaya.
Linggo, day off nga.
Ay, oo,
Hindi, yan eh, naka-program na yan, hindi yan po pwedeng mag-program.
Hindi. kaya nga, yan ang tinatanong ko, Maynard, dahil, I think Thursday o Friday, meron akong binaba na link na may explanation. I think binaba ko rin pala sa iyo kaninang umaga. Hindi tinanggal ni Google 'yon.
Sabado 'yun.
Di ba? Oo. Nung binaba ko 'yun nung Friday, tinanggal ni Google Moderator. Ngayon tinry ko ng pareho rin, ganon din ang hindi ko inerase kasi 'yon sa ganon din ang dinrap ko sa sa LS mo.
Sabado Linggo, pwede magbaba. Monday to Friday. Naka-set up yan. Hindi po pwedeng
So, ibig sabihin,
program yan, naka-program na yan. Hindi yan pwede maging tao.
Hindi tao yung pinrogram lang nila.
Oo, naka-program. Kasi kung tao yan,
Pero kung
ilang milyon tao sa buong mundo. Sabihin na lang natin 1 million. May 1 million tao pa siya para mag-check.
Pero pero kung naka-program, bakit hindi in-erase, di ba?
Hindi. Let's say, sabihin natin na nakaset yung program na ng ganong oras, ganong araw lang. Pwedeng
or baka nakaset lang sa weekdays, siguro.
Nakaset sa kanya sa weekdays lang. Diba?
Mm.
Para maluwag na sa Sabado Linggo. Kasi pag sobrang higpit din, lilipat din Lilipat din yung tao Tignan mo yung Google Short. Kung papansin mo yung Google Short, bakit may Google Short? Diyan nagsimula sa Amerika, bakit may Google Short? Kasi ginagawa nila yun para matabunan nila yung TikTok. Kasi yung TikTok, yun yung ano niya, pwede niyang kunin, pwede niyang sumikat kahit sa ganun.
Hindi kita naririnig na. Pumihina ka na, Maynard.
Ayan. Hello.
Oo.
Pag napapalayo ako So pagka depende kasi yan sa sa ginagawa ni YouTube, 'di ba? So gumagawa siya na katulad ni TikTok, 'di ba? So gumawa siya ng Google Short, parang ganon. So para maging maging katulad ni TikTok na lumipat yung tao doon. So pwede na mag-shifting. Kaya din yan minsan gayahan din yan Depende sa
kompetensya si
para may kompetensya. 'Di ba? May mga din, 'di ba? Meron ding Google Story, 'di ba? So, ganun lang yan gayahan lang yan. Unahan lang naman yan sa paggawa ng program Lalo ngayon malawak ngayon. Maraming mag-explore ng bago ngayon. Ganyan lang sistema.
Sige. Antok na ako.
Sige.
Anyway, maraming salamat ulit, Maynard. At DJ Haray, salamat. Pahabol, thank you very much sa pagbisita.
Kapatid Jomel, thank you.
Thank you.
Sa lahat ng mga naandyan pa, salamat sa inyo.
Maraming salamat ulit. See you again next Sunday, which is Saturday dito. Okay. Sige, mag-i-end na tayo.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Ano bang gawin kong end ito? Yung counting.
Sa taas, kanan.